Hello, listeners. Welcome to another episode of Resonate with Tammy. Today we have a special guest, Layefa. Hello, Layefa. Please, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi, good evening. My name is Layefa.
Mhm.
I'm a fashion designer and I'm happy to be your midst today to share my experience. I hope your evening is going on well.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for doing this, Layefa. It's not easy sharing your story. Maybe someone out there that is grieving needs to hear your story because it's coming from a place of love and they'll be inspired to hear about your story. Now, your what the catchphrase, a widow with a difference. Oh, why that catchphrase?
Well, they say life happens, but I didn't used to understand why people used to say that. And then when life now happened to me, I couldn't find comfort in that initial state I was in. I was just, in all the trauma that I was going through. I was looking for what to hold on
Okay.
to give me some sort of comfort and like get me back into who I am, and trying to believe that maybe it's just a dream and I would wake up from it. I would wake up every day and it's a reality. So I just started telling myself, okay, this is my present situation. It was when I now realized it that yes, it's now that's what it is. I'm now a widow. So I decided that I've always had this notion and picture of how a widow is. I've looked at people, I've seen widows, I've heard about them, but never really imagined that I would be one. So when it happened, I just told myself, I don't want to be like the normal widow. I don't want to be tamed like and treated like one of them or whatever it comes with. There's this notion about it. And I just told myself, someone was talking to me and something just came to my mind. I'm a widow with a difference. I'll be a widow with a difference. So a friend of mine was actually with me when that statement came out of my mouth. She was consoling me. She now was like, young widow. You are now a widow at this young age. Immediately she said it. I don't know what just came into me. I just told her, well, I will be a widow with a difference. She was shocked and she was happy I could say something like that. She took it up and like, yes, that's a good one. I like this spirit of yours. You'll be a widow with a difference. So whenever I feel that thing just kept on propelling me, sometimes I'll just wake up and I'm like, my own case will be different. I just didn't want to just accept, that picture. I always wanted something. I just kept telling myself, mine will be different. I will be different. I will be different. I keep telling myself, and I believe that phrase has worked for me till date.
So how was your experience after the loss?
Wow. My experience after the loss was very, very horrible. Nobody plans to be cut off from a good life, a good relationship, a good marriage, a good friend and husband and father to my children. Nobody just, it's not something you want to wake up. You don't even want to have a bad dream about it. Let me just put it that way. It's a bad dream. So when that incident happened, I was just like, what's going on? What am I going to do? It was a shock. And I was in that shock for a very long time. I was losing my mind at some points, especially in that initial stage, like the first 2 weeks, 1 week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks. I was just, I wasn't coordinating. It was like, I was in shock. Let me just use that word. Then I started having anxiety disorder syndrome. I was dealing with a lot of thoughts mentally. times I'll wake up and I start feeling maybe it was my fault.
Wow.
What did I not do right? What could I have done better? Why didn't I? What happened? How come I didn't see it coming? You know, trying to fix. I was just trying to replay things and wanting to see if I could have done anything different to have helped or saved the situation.
Okay.
You know, I had that stage initially. I had a stage of being lonely up there. Mine was a different case because he was we were very, very close. He was my only close confidant at the time. Somebody I could talk to and tell anything, share whatever. We talk a lot. Communication was very good. So now I'm alone. Ordinarily, if he was there and maybe it was somebody else that passed, I would have been able to share the way I was feeling, with him. But now I was just cut off. It was a very traumatic period. And as the time goes by, I started falling into depression, and I didn't know.
Wow.
Because I just thought that maybe it's normal. People have settled things. People have come to console with you. They have, initially people were always around me. I felt, I was feeling good because I was seeing a lot of people I've not seen before. Seeing them, your mind is not even at what is going on. You're it's been a long time. Before you know it, they are gone. The reality starts setting in when you are alone. And as the day goes by, it becomes clearer and clearer. The picture becomes so real. I was devastated. I was lonely. I was broken. It's not a good experience. It's not. And eventually, I became very depressed.
Did you have a support system during that period?
Yeah, when you say support system, yes, I think I had some form to an extent. There are so many areas I would like to share about support system. Firstly, when such things happen, the first support you would get is, let me call it family, friends, church, those kind of support will be like your first kind of support.
Yes.
Spiritual, in this part of the world, you are very spiritual. So I will take it in these phases. I'll be very honest with the kind of support I think I got. For me, for my own story, I got support from family. Yes, my immediate family were there for me. My husband's family, they were all there, all together. My friends, some of my friends were there. People will always come around, keep you company, stay with you, pray with you. The church too play their own part. But I think it was short-lived, maybe from my own perspective.
Okay.
In a space of about a month, I started feeling like I was alone.
Wow.
To be very honest, yes. I only had people coming around that first 1 month or before the burial, I think. Immediately after the burial, 2 months after the burial, I couldn't find real people coming. I wish I could have still had the crowd, not that much, but at least maybe a few people that would come and spend time with me. But I didn't see that, especially from the church angle. I will go there because I think family has, they're always there with you. You get.
Yes.
Even though you're not physically present with you, they will call from time to time. Your friends, one or two. But I think from the church angle, I didn't get that kind of support from the church, to be very honest.
Did they try to reach out to you, or did you tell?
No, they didn't. They came. Yeah, they were around. But after a while, I just woke up one day and noticed that nobody from the church had really, I had friends, not very, at least church people that I expected. I didn't find them coming around. Just immediately, like 2 months, I couldn't reach. I was not feeling that. I wasn't getting that support from them, spiritually, to encourage me.
Okay.
I didn't get it physically. They were not visiting. They were not calling. It's just the normal family people, a few friends that will always come up, check up on you and all that. So that's for the, let me call it physical and emotional support.
Okay.
Then when it gets to, let me call it financial support, because I know that being in this kind of situation, you need all the support you can get.
Exactly.
Because there are people there who don't have, I've seen widows who don't have any form of support. Financial support, family support, religious support, emotional support. They don't have anybody when it happens to them. They are all alone. I've seen those kind of cases. So for me, my emotionally, I didn't really have a lot of it. After the first 3 to 4 months, I think I was lacking emotional support. There's a way somebody talks to you when you are bereaved. It helps to relieve that feeling.
Yeah.
This kind of talk can come from anybody. Mustn't be from your family, mustn't be from your close friends, mustn't be from your church. But the consistency, how frequent you get to hear this kind of encouragement matters a lot in that phase of your life. So when it's not there, it's not an easy journey. You need it. So I think I lacked that part, because I feel that a lot of people are not really, really connected to people. You are somebody's friend, yes. Okay. You're somebody's sister, you're somebody's brother, you're somebody's... People don't really connect that deep. Grief is a very, 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 very traumatic experience. Me being there before now, I can feel, I now know how it feels. I think if you've never been in that position, you will not be able to give that kind of support. Exactly. That's just what I got to realize. Yes, at the end of the day, it's beyond money, is beyond just physically coming around and helping out to do things. It's beyond it. It's deeper than that. I think that part is the most touching part for anybody that is grieving. Emotional support.
I remember you told me when we had this discussion some weeks back, you said you were suffering from insomnia. Did you seek professional help?
Okay. Yes.
Have you suffered from insomnia? Yes.
Okay. Yeah. My experience after I was depressed, before I knew I was depressed, I started having panic attacks. It started from me I didn't know what was going on, but I just felt I was having panic attacks. I was having high pulse rates.
Wow.
I will have palpitations. Sometimes I'll have like 4 times in a day.
Okay.
Then at night, I won't be able to sleep. I thought it was just a normal thing initially. I would get over it, It stayed on for 1 month, 2 months. It now became a norm. About the 3rd month, then I now knew I was having depression. I knew this was depression. About the 3rd month, it became worse. That was when I started having very chronic insomnia. I couldn't sleep. And then when I knew that this was insomnia, I had gone to the hospital. From the panic attacks, before then I started going to the hospital when I started having those regular palpitations, almost like 4 to 5 times in a day. Wow. So that was when I knew I was having panic attacks. So as I was being, talking to the doctor, he now I now told him he just felt like I was not relaxing enough. Maybe I wasn't getting enough rest. So at that point, I now told him how my sleep patterns have been. I don't normally sleep well at night and all that. So that's how we now pinned it down to insomnia. And this insomnia was very, 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 very horrible. I was placed on medications for close to a month.
Wow.
And after a while, it failed. I would take the drugs. I would sleep for just 1 hour, 30 minutes, maximum 2 hours. And I'm out. After it wears out, I'll be awake till the next day. For a period of insomnia, I was having insomnia for more than 2 months.
My goodness.
Until it became very terrible. There was a period I was placed on tramadol. I wasn't. The doctor said my brain was not shutting down at night.
Wow.
So he wanted to calm me. He was looking for every kind of drug to use to calm me down. And these drugs were having effects on me during the day.
Right.
When I take them at night, I don't sleep like I should. Then during the day, I'll be very, 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 very uncomfortable. I'm not still sleeping during the day. I couldn't coordinate. I couldn't do a lot of things. I couldn't even drive at some point because I was not myself. Then about the 3rd month, towards the end of the 3rd month of the journey I was in, the insomnia was becoming more severe. So I was having constant headaches and the palpitation was more frequent. So the doctor now said that they need to put me on a sleep monitor, something like to monitor my sleep pattern. I had to be admitted into the hospital so that they would check. They wanted to do an IV treatment instead of the oral drug to see how long I was able to sleep and which method worked better, because before then it was just me going home. They'll give me the prescribed drugs. I'll take them at home. I'll come back like 2 days later to tell you I didn't sleep. It has been on for like a month. So he now said no. This particular week, I remember clearly. I now had a journal to write the number of hours. Whenever I wake up, he would tell me to write what time I woke up. Take note of the time I slept so that we can have like an analysis of my sleep pattern, to know how many hours I was able to sleep. So when I started doing that, and I found out that I was not sleeping more than in 24 hours, I would sleep for like only 3 to 4 hours.
Wow.
In a day. So when he checked for like a week and found out that I don't normally sleep at night, that means during the day I can just nap for like 1 hour maximum. Then at night I will sleep for like 2 hours and that's it, or 2 hours 30 minutes. That's all I get as sleep. So he now said I should come into the hospital to be admitted in the hospital. At that point, I knew that I'm in it. This is, I don't want to go through this circle anymore. I had to tell myself that it's time for me to get hold of my mental state and help myself out of this feeling, because physically I was exhausted. It was telling on me physically. I was always tired, confused, disoriented because I don't sleep properly. So, and I didn't like the fact that I was going through this circle. I was just like, I was out of reality. I was on my own. So I was like, I didn't like it. I was like, no, I have to get back to me, myself. Let me just be myself. So when I knew I went and read about this therapy he was talking about, and I didn't like what I saw there. I was scared. Like I was going to be put on an IV drip that will knock me off. They'll monitor how long he walks. I was like, no, I don't want to go through this. So I just told him, okay, I've heard I was coming. I went back home and I never went back to the hospital that day. I decided to try my other options, any other option that would work. And that was me running to God.
Wow.
I had to go to God and I had to ask him to help me to sleep.
Wow.
Because at this point, I was breaking down. And I knew if I didn't get help, it will result to something. Doctor had already told me that I wasn't physically having any medical condition, but I was gradually slipping into some sort of it will later affect me medically because of the way I was going. For more than 3 months, I've not had a good sleep. Wow. So I had to go to God and God answered me. He helped me out of it. It was a very, very, I've never seen a miracle like that, to be very honest.
How did the
And I
miracle
experienced it.
How did the miracle happen?
Okay, so on this particular day, because of the way my mental state was, once it gets towards, I will feel like maybe I'm not sleeping because I'm in my house. I would want to try sleeping in anybody else's house. And I would move from one family member's house to the other, to my friends' houses. And most of the time, sometimes I will sleep a bit because maybe I'm in a different environment. For me, that's what I was trying. I was just trying. I didn't even normally used to tell them I'm here because I want to sleep. I would just come and I'm spending the night. We are sleeping over. Okay. People were always happy to receive me and my kids over, in this time. So I would be good. I would be happy going there. And at night, maybe I would just doze off for like maximum 2 hours as usual. I'm up. So I've done it for several weekends like that, going from one. I just had this feeling that maybe if I sleep in somebody else's house, I will sleep. But I didn't sleep. So this particular day, I went to one of my uncle's house. And when it got late, I just found out that by 1 a.m., I was up. I kept struggling to sleep. I could not. I struggled all through the night, I cried, I prayed. What did I do? I couldn't sleep. By 5 a.m., I knew it was already morning. So I just managed. So that day the physical effect on me in the morning was so terrible. I was so weak, tired. My eyes were heavy. I was just messed up. And it was a Sunday. So as I was about going home, he wanted me to go to church with them. I said, no, I wanted to go to my house. That was the breaking point for me. I just told myself, today, this nonsense has to stop. So he was persuading me to come with them to church. I said, no, I was going to go to my house. I want to go home. I got into my car and I couldn't drive. That was when I knew that something was wrong. I couldn't get hold of myself to drive. And I drove the previous day to his house. So he had to drive me and my children back to my house. And I didn't like that kind of it. He was even worried. No, you can't go. I said, don't worry, uncle, I'm fine. You can go. I won't go anywhere. Okay, let me, I now told you, I said that it's like I didn't sleep. I said, yes. Okay, let's go back. I said, no, I wanted to sleep. That I was feeling very sleepy. So he now said, okay, I should go and sleep. I should call him in case of anything. I said, okay. So I tried to sleep. That was about 7 a.m. For like 2 hours. I was troubled. I couldn't sleep. So I just said, okay, I will go to church. Today is Sunday. Let me just get ready and go to church. And maybe I'll just go and tell God how it is and how badly I need his help. So that was exactly what I did. As I just got into church that day, I remember that I was a bit late and the worship was going on. The atmosphere was something else. I felt a lot of peace and calm while we were worshiping. And I was so weak that I couldn't even stand. I just sat down where I was. And as they were worshiping, I couldn't even sing. But I was just praying in my spirit. All I just said in my heart was, Father, I came here because of you. And I came here for just one thing. I just need to rest. I need to sleep. I've not been sleeping and it's getting out of hand. Just help me. This is the only thing that made me come here today. Let me not go back the same way I came. If nothing else, just answer this one and I'll be okay. That was what I said in my spirit. So while I was still meditating, while the songs were going on, I was far off. And I just heard the pastor saying, there's someone here who has not been able to sleep. You're having insomnia. You're a young lady, you have insomnia. Wow. I was thinking it was a dream. I was like, am I hearing right? Like, this is me now. That's my case. This is why I came to church. And I had to like prep myself. I stood up. I was looking. I was at the back. And I was wondering, maybe it's my thoughts. Then he repeated it again. I was like, could it be real? Then the next thing, he said, someone had walked out. He now said, it's not you. There's a particular lady. She's a young woman. When I see her, I will know her. But you can stand. When I heard him say that, I was like, somebody has already gone and that means it's me. Then let me just go and try my luck. So I stepped out and I walked to the front of the church. Immediately I got there, he said, yes, that's the person. Wow. I was shocked. I've never had that kind of experience in my life. So I was like, so God heard me, just like that. Hey, immediately he said, young lady, how many hours do you want to sleep? 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours? Choose what hours of the day. I said 7, 8 hours. He said, okay, now sleep. I just knew I fell under the anointing and I was sleeping.
Wow.
I slept. I've not slept that deep that I couldn't think of any. As in, the sleep is a sleep where you are not even dreaming. You're just there. And I remember them picking me up from the floor, and that's when I realized that I was woke. Like somebody's waking you up from sleep. It was amazing. The experience was awesome. I was like, God. He now said, don't worry, you will sleep. So I went back home, very happy that day. I knew something had happened in my life. I knew something was, in fact, it was what I wanted. So that particular night, when it got to midnight, the devil came again, trying to tell me, you won't sleep. It's the same pattern. Let me see how you sleep. I said, I've overcome you. This is your journey. It has ended. Today, right now, I'm in charge of what happens in my 9th season. So, and all this while, I've been praying, as I was grieving, I became closer to God because He was the only source of hope I had. God was the only thing that kept me going, because ordinarily I wouldn't have been able to make it through. But I just had to hold on to God, the last strength I had in me, believing that I would pull through that phase of my life by His grace. So one night I just woke up. The Holy Spirit just ministered to me. Before then, when I couldn't sleep, what I do is switch on the TV. I watch movies till I get bored. Sometimes I'm watching, I'm not even concentrating. I'm not even hearing what I'm watching. My mind is always far away from me. That's where I felt. So even when the television is on, I'm not even concentrating on the TV, on the whatever I'm watching. Was that bad? So when and then from the doctor's own prescription, they don't advise you to sleep with your TVs on, because the lights affects your part of your brain and makes that is it part of your brain that shouldn't have light or that kind of thing for you to sleep. So my doctor had warned that I should switch off everything, keep my environment calm, cool, and dark, for me to be able to fall into deep sleep. So now when I don't sleep, I will now try to, instead of my mind wandering over everything, I will now put on the TV. It wasn't helping me either. So I had to stop watching TV at midnight, radios, telephones. I had to switch off all those gadgets so that I could go into have the atmosphere calm. So when I was practicing everything that they had told me. So this particular night, the Holy Spirit now ministered to me that I should check through the Bible anywhere I find the word sleep, and I should meditate on it. This was a revelation I had on my own. So that's how I now got into this study. So that particular night, whenever I wake up, I'll pick up my Bible. I'll start jotting. I started using the Bible dictionary. It was as if I was going to write an exam. I would go through all the verses. I got a notebook. Whenever I just wake up and my mind wants to wander, I say, no, I'll go to the Bible. I'll pick up, I'll go to the chapter, I will read. When I finish reading that verse, I will write it out in my notebook. And as I was doing that, I just noticed that I was sleeping. The first night, I think I did it. Second night, third night. Then one day, I just picked up that book. The first thing I noticed was that my Bible was tearing. So I was like, what happened to this Bible? I wake up and I will find one page out. I was like, no, what happened? I was like, something just told me you have been sleeping. I was like, no, how come I don't even remember what happened in the night? So once I checked the Bible, the cover, I noticed my Bible was just disintegrating. I was like, what's going on here? So I now brought my journal out and started trying to go through what I have written one particular night when I woke up. And I found out that I've not been able to write up to 2 pages of that book.
Wow.
I was just mumbling. I couldn't read anything. And I was amazed, like, really, how come I'm not writing? But I was writing in the night. I read this, I should have written it down. So, just to my own amusement, I found out that I was sleepy. That was how I knew. That was how insomnia died in my life. Until date, I've not had this over 8 or 9 years. I don't think I've ever had one night of me not sleeping for how many hours. I sleep very well, even during the day. I can be inside the vehicle and I'm sleeping. By 12 in the afternoon, I'm sleeping.
Thank
God is awesome.
I'm telling you, it always is. Thank you, Layefa, for sharing your story. We really appreciate you for inspiring someone else. What you want to share for someone that's going through this kind of situation?
Yeah, I know that in life, people will always pass through different phases. Nobody prays for the uneventful to happen to them. I know that there are people out there who might just be bereaved. It might not be a widow. It can be a child. It can be a mother. It can be a parent. Grief is grief. Bereavement is the same with all genders. It doesn't have to be your husband, your wife. It can be your child. It can be your friend. If there's anyone there with, you have just lost someone you love so much. I just want to leave this word of encouragement. Sometimes we cannot question God, even if we try to. A lot of times I've heard people say, why did God allow this to happen? This person is so good. If we have done this, if we have done that. Well, in some cases, people have done all that and it still happened the way it happened. I want to encourage someone out there to just hold on to God. I've heard cases where people who are bereaved, some of them lost their mind. They don't ever become themselves. I've heard of a woman, I've seen her. She lost her son. Apparently, this woman's son was my husband's childhood friend. But he died 5 years before I lost my husband. And this woman never got herself for more than 20 years after she lost that son of hers. She became almost senile from that moment she lost that. When you go to her, she talks to you like her son just died like yesterday. After 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years. That's how bad it can be. She never got herself back. And eventually she just passed not up to 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
So it can be very, very, yes. That's for a parent. For a child, it can be very devastating. When a child is going through grief, I don't think there's any word you want to use to express it. It's terrible. Some children never grow out of it. They grow up feeling, not knowing who they are. They grow up not accepting the world. They grow up not trusting anybody, not believing in themselves, because it's like life has failed them. So it's a whole lot. I don't think I can express how it is. But for whoever is going through any form of grief, I just want to encourage you. If you are a woman, especially, maybe like me, I want to tell you to be strong. God will see you through. You're not the first and you will not be the last. People, you will come out of it stronger, better. God will help you. You are comforted by the Holy Spirit. He will soothe that pain. He will heal that wound. He will do it. I just know that. It's easier said, but I know that time will always tell.
Thank you, Layefa. And to my listeners, more content of Resonate with Tammy on YouTube and Spotify. So don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell. That helps me a lot. Until then, take care and God bless.